example about how I use a composer to connect to another content. I love Beethoven. I love his works. I think he's one of the most profound composers and musicians that our time has seen, or this whole time that this earth has been here, has seen. And here's a fun book, Getting to Know the World's Greatest Composers. They have these for many different composers, and there's little bubbles or cartoon bubbles that you can read, and it just gives an overview. So that's an easy one. The one that I've been using since I've been teaching third grade, and now I do the music program at my elementary school, I love this one called Beethoven Lives Upstairs. The reason why I love it is, number one, third grade and second grade, I believe, they work on letter writing. So letter writing mechanics, date, greeting, body, salutations, closing, things like that. And this book is written in the letter format. It's about a little boy who has an open room upstairs, him and his mom, and Beethoven moves in upstairs. It's realistic fiction. This didn't really happen, but everything that happens in the story is based on actual true events. And the little boy's writing his uncle back and forth, starting off like, this man is crazy, he's gone mad, and he's loud, and he's emotional, and very sporadic. And the uncle's just like, it's okay. He's had a rough childhood. Here's what's going on. He's losing his hearing. That's why he's very loud. The little boy is like, well, did you know he owns 4 pianos, and he has his ear trumpet, and just going back and forth. The wonderful thing is the kids really get to dive into Beethoven's life and his frustrations of losing his hearing and being a creative genius with this huge disability, or this huge physical issue that he's going through. And they get to hear his music. And at the very end, the little boy and Beethoven, become friends. And Beethoven invites him to his 9th symphony, which, to be there, I have no words. To be there would be amazing. And this little boy is there. Beethoven is fully deaf at this time and has a co-conductor conducting the orchestra alongside of him. And the crowd's going wild, and someone else has to turn Beethoven around to look at the crowd applauding him and honoring him. And so the kids just really get to see what life was like for one of the greatest composers. And then my students themselves get their recorder and they play the 9th symphony. And we just really talk about Beethoven's struggle and how this thing that seemingly was really awful, him losing his hearing, could that have been the reason why his music ended up being so profound, especially some of his later works. Many claim that some of his best works were composed after he became fully deaf. So we looked at, can negative things be transmuted into a positive outcome, and how can we apply that lesson to our life? So this is really a great way to bring in the humanities, to bring in the arts, to bring in composer study, or just a famous person or a historical event. I love books that have CDs in them. So some CDs read the story for you, some CDs just have the musical components so your students could experience it. Don't forget, the arts are about multiple entry points. So how many ways could your students access the content? Not just reading it through a textbook, but through the artistic means, through visual arts. Who was painting what at that time and why? Through the musical compositions, through theater, through poetry, and also through the essays and the dialogue of what was ever going during that time. So giving your students multiple entry points to the content is huge. And as an English language arts teacher, you can bring in all those strategies as well, monitoring and clarifying main idea, character development. All that is here, but you still get to expose them to the musical elements as well, and the musical standards as well. Beethoven rocks, and you are a hero.